Each and every Wednesday morning, we break down what happened at last night's Springfield City Council meeting. It is the Council Roundup brought to you by Head West Subs. When you want a great sub, you've got to Head West. Their downtown location open for lunch, Head West Subs. All right, let's get right into it. A lot to cover from last night's Springfield City Council meeting, where you've got a whole host of things that were discussed. And, of course, this happens each and every Tuesday evening. If there's 5 Tuesdays in a month, and they only do, the 4 of those 5 Tuesdays. But with the holidays approaching, we've got the Council Roundup that we've got to get to here. So let's go ahead and tackle it now with Springfield's Morning News on WMAY from last night's Springfield City Council meeting. So let's hear about some zoning issues brought up last night. Here's Mayor Jim Langfelder.
From S2, Community Shopping and Office District, Section 155.031 to B1, Highway Business Service District, Section 155.033 for Condo Unit 5B, mini storage internal space for the operation of an indoor climate-controlled self-storage facility, and from S2 to B2, General Business Service District, Section 155.034 for that area described as part of Condo Unit 5B-RV parking for an ancillary use of vehicular parking of RVs, boats, and travel trailers in the side yard area, and a variance of Section 155.052 C1B.
So a lot of different legalese there for zoning, but it deals with Town and Country Shopping Center. Here's Alderman McMiniman.
I'd just like to acknowledge Mr. David Bernstein of Larkspur Properties flew in from Florida this morning. And you can raise your hand and acknowledge yourself. I know maybe you don't want to stand up. Why? Because one of the airlines lost his baggage on the way up here. So he's dressed more casual than normal. I hope that's a sense of humor you got going with that comment. But thank you for your investment in Springfield. You purchased Town and Country Shopping Center at auction back in June, and you've devised very significant plans to revitalize and rejuvenate Town and Country Shopping Center.
So, the developer gets up there to address the committee, and here's the mayor thanking the developer for getting there.
Yeah, we really appreciate your investment in Springfield. So since you came all this way, we were hoping you bring warm weather. You did today.
Again, I apologize. I had a jacket and shoes, and I'm dressed down a little bit for tonight. But I do appreciate the opportunity, and we're really looking forward to the redevelopment of the center, and excited to get going if the city council approves. So.
And the vote on this particular zoning variance?
And the zoning passes 10 voting yes, none voting no.
All right, so next up, you've got a travel center. Not a truck stop, but a travel center that's being proposed here for a zoning change. Here's the zones.
Trucks idle, and that was one of the concerns of the neighborhood association, that in the middle of the night when trucks idle and the air is crisp, that it goes through. But I've got the right attitude with all of us that if that becomes an issue, we'll deal with it. And I appreciate you saying we'll deal with it with landscaping and trees and things like that.
The developer's looking to ultimately, have some kind of place where they can have around 14 different trucks idle, not for long periods of time, just to get in to do their business. But Alderman Redpath, cautious about this idea.
Glen Air Subdivision's in for a rough ride here because, yes, there is traffic that comes down Stevenson Drive, but those idling trucks at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, you can hear them for a long way. I will be a no vote on this because I know this is going to affect that neighborhood, and I know it's Alderman Williams' neighborhood, but I'm very familiar with it. I'm telling you, it's a bad idea.
And this is going to be on Stevenson Drive in that area with the developer there of the gas station wanting to allow for this. She says that they're going to control it.
That per the ordinance, there's to be no long-term parking there. That will be something that we will work with the city and establish once drivers know that this is not the spot to hang out with, because we don't have the amenities that a truck stop typically has, which is why we distinguish ourselves as a travel center.
So they ultimately did advance that and moved on from zoning. So with that, we move on to city business, where you've got the treasurer providing the report to the mayor as to how much money there is. And we like hearing about this. Treasurer Misty Busher.
The corporate fund had a beginning balance in the month of November of $60,906,863. We took in total total receipts of $10,551,873. We had total disbursements in the month of November of $8,455,336, which left the corporate fund with an ending balance of $63,003,400. Of that ending balance, Mayor Langfelder, your ARPA fund ending balance included in that is $23,921,211.
Wow.
This concludes my report, Mayor Langfelder.
So again, $23 million remaining from ARPA funds, American Rescue Plan Act dollars. So that's a lot of money. Moving on now from last night's committee hearing, there was somebody there talking about trees. That's right, trees.
My name is Steve Lane. I'm an urban forestry consultant with Great Lakes Urban Forestry Management out of Batavia, Illinois, a couple hours north of here. And
he was there to provide some statistics on a study that they did about Springfield trees.
they do come at a low cost versus other infrastructure, and there are grants out there. So there's $1.5 billion that's been earmarked through the Inflation Reduction Act, which love or hate the piece of legislation itself. This is historic funding for our industry.
And says that they're going to do what they can to try to capture a lot of those dollars.
We really want to shoot for the moon on this, try and get as much funding as possible, get that into managing and mapping out the trees and making a benefit for the community with those ecological services. So preparing that wish list to have it shovel ready, as the buzz phrase goes, when that funding is released, is going to put you at the front of the lunch line, and that's important.
And some questions were raised about those troubled trees that I think a lot of us are just sick and tired of, and that's those sweet gumball trees.
And actually, if I may, the sweet gum thing, I just want to say we can't grow them in our neck of the woods. I'm in the northeast part of the state.
I feel like you're bragging.
Yeah, no, it's just a little bit too cold, and I wish we could plant more of them. And it's an interesting thing that you don't. No, I know about the gumballs, but it's one of those trees that we actually wish we could use a little bit more. But I do get them.
If you need gumballs, we will collect them and send them to you.
Right. No kidding. There you go with the tree overview. Stay tuned. Much more coming up here with Springfield's Morning News. It is the Council Roundup on WMAY. But let's take a look at Springfield's dependable 5-day forecast, where today it's going to be mild, but we're getting ready for that big snow coming up our way. And we're looking at a high of 34 today. Tomorrow, though, the high of only around 33, but that's going to happen early in the morning with rain and then snow after it drops down to around 6 for the high by 5 p.m. tomorrow. 2 to 4 inches possible with wind gusts up to 38 miles an hour. Then Thursday night, blowing snow with the low down to 6 below. Wind gusts up to 43 miles an hour. Friday, widespread blowing snow. Could be up to 45-mile-an-hour wind gusts with a high of only 3. And then Friday night, blowing snow with a low of -1. Saturday, patchy blowing snow. It's going to be cold with a high of only 10. And then Christmas Day, mostly sunny with a high of near 20. Right now, it's about 22 degrees at 7:19 from Culver's West on Wabash.
It's time to apply at Culver's West on Wabash. We're hiring all positions. And did we mention free food? Only at Culver's West on Wabash.
This is Jim over at CBD Botanicals. We've got something for everybody. It could be a topical, it could be a chocolate, it could be a gummy, a drink, a tincture, an inhalable, even a smokable. This week, December 19th through 24th, CBD Botanicals is going to do a buy one, get one 42.0% off sale. And that is on everything in the shop. Every product in the shop. Doesn't matter if it's a vapable, if it's a gummy, if it's a tincture, if it's a dog treat. It is unlimited. You can mix and match as you please, and there is no dollar amount limit. So if you want to get 16 items, 8 of them are going to be 42.0% off. So come on by to 2538 South Cokie Mill Road at the corner of Cokie Mill and Isles, next to Walgreens in the Fresenius building. You might see Tatum, our shop pet. You might see Coraline. You might even see Ollie or Christina as well. Maybe if you're lucky, you'll get to see me too.
Hey, John, when you think of the word supply chain, what's your next impulse?
No, turn off the news, run for cover, start whimpering.
Yeah, well, a customer of Dick Van Dyke Appliance World wrote in that they visited the store wanting to buy a microwave.
Something that used to be so simple.
Oh, right. You know what they walked out with?
Let me guess. A microwave.
Exactly. Dick Van Dyke had what they needed in stock, and the customer also remarked as to how helpful the salespeople were, too. Supply chain problems are still a thing, but this customer got the help they needed, and they wrote in to thank us.
You know, a little less whimpering in today's world can't be a bad thing.
This is Dennis Reekin, chairman of Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. Supply chain issues are minimized when you have multiple locations. and people who know how to help you with your next purchase. All we do is appliances, and we do them better than anyone else. Wow!
Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. When you buy from us, you get the whole store.
Yeah, I'm still waiting on a Christmas gift I got for my wife. It's coming in the mail, but I just don't know when it's coming. That's not going to be the problem if you go and seek that Christmas time delivery from Green Hyundai. Getting what could be the most important gift you give a loved one, a new or pre-owned vehicle from Green Hyundai, and Santa Quimby standing by to let you know that their Santa's elves are ready to deliver. Mike?
That's right, Greg. We are up and going. Yesterday, we did 15 cars. So we were very busy yesterday. We expect for today to be even busier. And we are completely full open. And we've got four-wheel drives. Yeah, might be a good thing to get right now. And we're going to have a bow on it, and we're going to be able to get it. We'll have them inside at Green Hyundai. We have a facility on the south side of Hyundai that has got 4 different ports that we can put cars in the tropical 72 and deliver them right in there. So you can look the car over, put a bow on it, some balloons, surprise them when they walk in, and or we'll deliver them to your house on Christmas Eve. We will be open. So we are in full force, and we have vehicles and Palisades. Boy, oh boy, do we have Palisades. My daughter even bought a Palisade yesterday, so we're happy for her to have a beautiful 7 and 8 passenger vehicle to haul her family in, and it's a beautiful, beautiful gift, a gift that gives all year long. A new Hyundai Palisade, and Santa Fe's, Tucson's, hybrids, everything. So get up, get out, come out and see us tonight until 7, Thursday until 7, Friday until 7, and Saturday till 3. We are your Christmas destination. Ho, 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 ho. Green Hyundai, Greg.
Mike Quimby, Green Hyundai. Have a great day.
We appreciate it, Greg. Thank you.
If and you can click, you can eat like a king and or queen. Go to headwestsubs.com and we'll have that miracle sandwich waiting for you.
I don't want the same old thing. I got a craving for a Head West brownie today. Yeah!
Rex with a double X battery. Generations of power.
You can jumpstart your car with a device you can hold in your hand. I'm Laurie from Rex Battery, and if you find yourself with a dead battery, the NOCO Genius Boost is all you need. You don't have to wait for a friend to show up, call a tow truck, or hope a stranger has jumper cables. If you have the NOCO Genius Boost, you have the charge you need to get your car going again. One charge can get you as many as 20 jumps. Rex Battery always carries the latest technology, and these small devices pack big power, enough oomph to start your cars, trucks, and even boats. They even have USB ports so you can get your phone powered up if you're stranded. The NOCO Genius Boost. Pick up one today at Rex Battery, Clear Lake, just west of Dirksen.
Rex with a double X battery. Generations of power.
Shop the largest selection of Amish and American-made furniture all in one location at Hendricks Home Furnishings. From living room upholstery and accent tables to bedroom, dining room, and home office furniture. Select your sizes, wood finishes, colors, leathers, and fabrics of your choice. At Hendricks, the options are endless for style and comfort that will last a lifetime. Come shop Amish and American-made furniture on sale now. Hendricks Home Furnishings in Verdon and online at hendricks.tv, where you can always talk to the owners.
To protect his family from disaster, Steve used his camera phone. Done. By taking pictures of his important documents, Steve can always have them stored online. Learn more simple disaster prep tips at ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
The WMAY Daily Poll is sponsored by Adams Pest Control for commercial, residential, real estate inspections, and termite control. Cast your vote with the WMAY mobile app or at WMAY.com/poll.
Should Illinois ban the sale of assault weapons and high-capacity magazines? Yes or no? And it looks like about 53% of you so far say no. You can go vote at WMAY.com/poll or on the WMAY mobile app. It's brought to you by Adams Pest Control.
Listen and watch the interviews with today's newsmakers on Facebook and YouTube. Like and subscribe now. Springfield's Morning News with Greg Bishop on 92.7 WMAY.
And we're in the middle of the Council Roundup, brought to you by Head West Subs. When you want a great sub, you've got to head west. Their downtown location open for lunch. Also open for lunch on Saturdays. And don't forget about delivery. Head West Subs. So last night, they got through the zoning. They got through a variety of other ordinances, including a bunch of appointments that were on an omnibus vote. And now it's time to delve back into this idea of a proposal to bring about some residential units and building new construction on a parking lot in downtown Springfield. Here's the ordinance read by the mayor.
An ordinance authorizing execution of a redevelopment agreement with Adirondack Community Development LLC for the financial assistance for the property located at 301 North 5th Street, utilizing only tax increment finance funds generated by the project for an amount not to exceed $4,565,039.
So Alderman Redpath, he sounded off on what he wants to do with this at that time last night.
Yes, Mayor, we just got the developers agreement at 5 o'clock. I think we need to hold this.
So, are they going to hold it? Well, they heard from the developer from Adirondack, a New York company, on what they plan on doing there.
I think what we'd respectfully ask you to do is to vote to move this forward legislatively. Obviously, the developer agreement's going to be negotiated with the city council. I think the standard terms of that agreement are fairly customary for the city, which is that 51% of the labor be local Springfield residents.
And the developer also talked about the importance of the timing of this, of getting this agreement in place.
We are concerned that, with interest rates rising, I know the Fed raised rates only by half a point, 50 bips instead of 75, which a lot of people were afraid of, but rates are going up. At some point, we'd like to go lock in our financing as quickly as possible.
And then Alderman Williams, he sounded off as well on some of his concerns about the proposal moving forward.
I put it on debate because I had issues about women and people of color in this diverse workforce that you spoke on, and to see what the agreement looked like. And I'm glad that it did come at 5. So if I'm hearing that there's going to be time to address those kind of issues later, for sure, just to be clear, I think it's a good project. I think that, it would be good for Springfield, but I just have some specific areas dealing with who's going to build it and how.
And the developer providing some response.
I actually have had dialogue with Aaron Guernsey about that, and we gave him our commitment that we will be entering into a PLA.
So the commitment is there, but the details maybe not entirely set in stone. More from other alder people, including Alderman Jim Donnellan.
So if we were to pass this ordinance tonight, in other words, there would be no negotiating with the city because we've already agreed to enter into a redevelopment agreement.
And Corporation Counsel Jim Zirkle providing a little bit of clarity on that idea.
The ordinance contemplates our boilerplate agreement being in place, but it's going to be subject to the TIF as it's created and the enterprise zone. If the city is unable to create the TIF district, then the entire process is basically nullified. Or if the enterprise zone is not approved, the entire project is contingent on those subsequent actions taking place.
And more from the Corporation Counsel.
You never know what will happen if the actual bids go out, what the amounts are. You don't know the circumstances that might require further changes. Look at Legacy Point. It was changed, I think, 3 times, through the process.
So the developer's agreement can be changed?
Of course,
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And we've done it with others on several circumstances, both time and scope and money.
So So we're going to hear a lot more about all of this from last night's Springfield City Council meeting. It is the Council Roundup on WMAY, brought to you by Head West Subs. When you want a great sub, you've got to head west. Their downtown location open for lunch and open for lunch on Saturdays. Don't forget about delivery. Head West Subs. Now 7:31. Let's take a break for news. Here is the latest out of the newsroom.
92.7 WMAY.
Here are the three big things you need to know.
I'm Don Howard. Our top story. The executive summary of the U.S. House January 6 committee's report documents how then-President Donald Trump was repeatedly warned by those closest to him that claims he had lost the re-election due to fraud were false. But Trump spread those lies anyway, with some advisors telling him to simply declare victory after the polls closed. After Election Day, Trump ignored his own attorney general, lawyers, campaign officials, and cabinet members to spread false information about voting machines, dead voters, and election workers. The National Weather Service predicts 3 to 5 inches of snow Thursday for the Springfield area. Forecasters say plunging temperatures and wind gusts of up to 50 miles an hour will create blizzard-like conditions and wind chills of 30 degrees below zero that will make travel hazardous both Thursday and Friday. A winter storm watch has been issued from 6 a.m. Thursday to 6 a.m. Saturday. Stay with 92.7 WMAY for updates on the developing weather situation. The fate of Illinois' Safety Act and the end of cash bail in the state may come right down to the wire. Arguments were heard Tuesday in a consolidated lawsuit made up of complaints filed by more than 60 states' attorneys, including Sangamon County's Dan Wright. They argued that the new law is unconstitutionally vague and takes away discretion regarding bail granted to judges by the state constitution. The Kankakee County judge plans a written ruling by December 28th, 3 days before the law will take effect. 9 people from Peoria have been arrested on gun charges as part of a Springfield police crackdown on people coming into town from other communities looking to start trouble. 7 adults and 2 juveniles were taken into custody late Saturday night into early Sunday morning. They face multiple charges, including aggravated unlawful use of a weapon, possession of a weapon by a felon, and possession of a weapon without a FOID card. One of the juveniles was also arrested on an outstanding warrant for a parole violation. 6 firearms were confiscated during those arrests. In his final few days in office, Congressman Rodney Davis is expressing frustration with some in his party for discouraging early voting and vote by mail. Davis was not on the ballot in November after losing his Republican primary to Representative Mary Miller. Appearing live on WMAY, he said some, including the party's nominee for governor, Darren Bailey, actively discouraged early and mail-in voting during the election. Davis says he is not planning on running for anything at the moment, although he won't rule out that possibility in the future. The call is going out for blood donations to make up for an anticipated upcoming shortfall in the blood supply. The holiday season usually leads to a drop-off in donations of more than 20% for 2 to 3 weeks. Medical professionals say the need for blood, because of accidents, surgeries, and other uses, will not go down, so it's critical to find donors to help make up the gap in blood supply. Impact Life is offering a $20 electronic gift card and other incentives to encourage donations. You can learn more and schedule a donation at bloodcenter.org.
One more thing, chill. Take the afternoon off and binge watch anything. Go to happy hour and stay for a couple hours. Whatever you do it with a Coors Light. Mountain cold refreshment made to chill. 2020 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Celebrate responsibly.
92.7 WMAY.
Springfield's news and talk.
We're back with the Council Roundup. That is Springfield's morning news on 92.7 WMAY. Springfield's news and talk. Hearing about a proposal to create a targeted micro TIF downtown Springfield that would allow for a self-funding of sorts of a project. Take a parking lot at 301 5th Street downtown and ultimately allow it for some residential units, and a New York firm coming to town to lay out that proposal. But there's still some questions that are being asked, including those from Alderperson Aaron Conley asking about various provisions of this bill. It is the Council Roundup brought to you by Head West Subs. If you want a great sub, you've got to head west. Here's Alderwoman Conley.
I would make a motion that this redevelopment agreement includes commitment from the developer to engage in PLAs with the appropriate construction industries.
Sure, but keep in mind what really protects our residents is what's in code. That's 51% of projects that the unions or whoever does the work has to make that effort with residents, and that's what the difference with Poplar was. So,
and then Alderman Sean Gregory also chiming in here, making sure that his voice is heard for his community and what they want to see happen with the project labor agreements that are lined up.
I have no will to hold your project up because I'm very, very interested in the TIF portion and the enterprise zone, which is meant for impoverished areas to get incentives and employ people in these situations. So the extension of that is really, for me, is really going to be dependent on something that we're talking about with this developer agreement and the workforce that you mentioned before being diverse.
And Alderman Hanauer also chiming in.
I understand you want to lock in, but we're in the middle of holidays right now. 2 weeks I don't think is going to hurt you. And I think we can have, once we all look at everything, it's much like Poplar Place. We'll get this hammered out. You can look at the stuff that you've got, your company can. We all get back together and we hammer this thing, get this thing done.
So saying that, hey, we can wait a couple of more weeks here, but the developer, again, highlighting that they want to get things locked in to make sure that they don't run into any problems last minute with any possible changes.
It's a little unusual to have actual project level agreements drafted up this early when, we haven't even designed the building yet. This is all. What we're asking you to do today is to really provide the structure, the benefits that will allow us to do that. There is so much work that needs to be done and agreements that need to be entered into.
So a lot of back and forth, including the mayor jumping in, making his points that this is an effort that it's timing and it's going to change and it's going to come back to Springfield Alder people in an effort to try to best address all these concerns about the project labor agreement, about the funding, about the workforce, and so on.
We want to change downtown. Now's our chance. 136 units of market rate housing. So he's just asking for the green light to pursue financing. And the developer's agreement is what it is. It's a template. It's spelled out with regards to creating the TIF. He'll do the PLA. Well, I'm sure we're going to amend it. So it has that. And it's just no transfers of other TIF funds can go in. So it secures just what's generated from the project to fill the gap of financing.
Then Alderwoman DeCenso, she chimed in on the timing of last-minute reports and analysis that Alder people got just before the hearing, and seeming to try to, in a way, have empathy with what the developer's feeling right now, getting blindsided with all these questions.
The look of frustration I'm seeing on your face and hearing in your voice is what we feel when we get an email at 4:47 with 20 pages to review when the meeting starts at 5:30. And this is common practice. And this is not aimed at you. We're supportive of this project, but it's irresponsible of us to not read the agreement and then vote on something that we have no idea what's in it.
So the questions continued with various alder people again chiming in on
The other
how
part of
exactly
the
they move forward, including Alderman Redpath, talking about how he wanted to hold this for a bit, but looks like they're going to try to solidify some of the last-minute details before they move forward here.
Spoke in the wheel of this whole thing is the PLA. And you've said you have talked to labor and agreed to sign a PLA with labor. Is that correct?
Yes.
And the developer acknowledging that is the goal. Alderman Williams, Roy Williams Jr., he talked about the PLA and the importance of it, but in particular, he wants to make sure that it's clear that the PLA deals with diversity of the workforce.
You received this from Mr. Guernsey. What is he saying as far as minority workforce, dealing with the women that's going to be on this job and the people of color that's going to be on the job? What is the target percentage that you guys are discussing?
We haven't discussed that yet. I think that's something that we agree that we will include something along those lines.
And Alderman Williams continues.
Well, I'm asking these questions because this council is always fine with the word PLA, not knowing what that means. They just want a PLA. They don't ask about women. They don't ask about people of color. I, on the other hand, always like to say, well, what makes up that PLA? What is that percentage? What is it going to be? Because we have to have that to have a diverse workforce.
And then you get Alderman Williams and Alderwoman Purchase going back and forth with their sentiments on how to move forward with this, with the PLA and with other amendments that may be happening.
20%, 30%, I mean, what?
20% is what I asked last Tuesday, Alderman Williams.
Well, I'm asking him now.
That's what I requested from him. But if you want me to hold it to make sure we got that in the language for you, we can do that.
Well, I mean, if we can all agree in public and on the record that it's going to be 20%, I'm fine.
So is that what's going to happen here? Is that ultimately the path forward? The mayor, he jumped back in to talk about how this is going to be a moving target, but they have to give some assurances as to what the developer can expect moving forward.
I think that's something that will have to be a discussion for later, and then you bring it back when we form the TIF and have everything lined up and hopefully wrap it in a nice little bow.
Will it be wrapped up in a nice little bow? Here's the vote.
As amended, vote yes. Those opposed, vote no. The voting is now open.
I know you're probably sweating right now.
You're good.
Sometimes a little bit.
Push it twice, sometimes 3 times. How about tonight, 5 times? Here we go.
And the motion passes 10 voting yes, none voting no.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate it, and we look forward to working with the city and bringing this project to fruition.
All right, so moving forward with last night's Springfield City Council meeting, we've got Alderwoman Conley, who wanted to make sure she gets something that's on first reading, dealing with the Salvation Army getting some funds to help with the homeless population. Here is Alderwoman Conley.
We're suspending with the timelines on this one for first reading. This is $400,000 for a shelter for 1 year. I do expect that we will have people from Salvation Army available next week and at the meeting to answer questions about this.
And more from Alderwoman Conley.
I would like details on the programs that they have been providing during the prior year of this contract, number of persons served, agreements moving forward with different mental health providers, education outreach providers in the community to show us what's going to be happening in this shelter to provide meaningful services. So
we'll hear more about that. Then Alderwoman Purchase gets us the last word for the council roundup.
The last one coming up this Wednesday, and
Holiday
we encourage
walks.
everybody to come out if you need those last
Tonight.
It's before the
those
storm.
last minute gifts. And also you still have time to write Santa a letter and go place it in the box
There you go.
downtown. And then just Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
We missed Santa Claus today. I don't know what happened to him. Maybe we're on the naughty list.
That's right.
Speak for yourself.
I think he's quarantining.
Hey, quarantine.
Oh boy, yeah. Typically at this the meeting before the Christmas holiday, they have some guy come out in a Santa suit and hand out all kinds of treats for the older people. That didn't happen this year. That's no good. All right, either way, that's your Council Roundup, brought to you by Head West Subs. When you want a great sub, you've got to head west. Their downtown location open for lunch, and don't forget about delivery, Head West Subs. All right, it is Springfield's Morning News on 92.7 WMAY. Springfield's News and Talk, and let's take a look at Springfield's dependable 5-day forecast, where you've got a high today of around 34, but then we've got a cold snap coming with a high of around 6 tomorrow, with snow. Could be 2 to 4 inches with winds up to 38 miles an hour. And then the temperature is going to plummet Thursday night with a low of -6, 45 mile an hour winds. So you can imagine that the snow is going to cause some problems with that wind. Friday, widespread blowing snow with the high of around 3. And then Friday night, the low down to -1 with wind gusts continuing. And then Saturday, patchy blowing snow with a high of 10. And for Christmas Day, mostly sunny with a high near 20. Right now, it's about 22 degrees at 750 from Culver's West on Wabash.
It's time to apply at Culver's West on Wabash. We're hiring all positions. And did we mention free food? Only at Culver's West on Wabash.
This is the time of year to be thinking about furnace maintenance, as the weather is going to get steadily cooler. But if your furnace is 12 to 15 years old or older, it may be time to think about furnace replacement. The typical lifespan for a good furnace is about 12 to 15 years. And if it's been working hard for that time or more, it really is time to think about replacing it. There's a lot of benefits to it. You will see dramatically improved energy efficiency, lower utility bills, and a home that's a lot more comfortable. So reach out to the furnace installation experts at MB Heating and Cooling today. Now, if your furnace just needs maintenance, MB is also the place to go. You can sign up for a service agreement with MB Heating and Cooling for 2 performance tune-ups per year, 24-hour priority service and energy-saving coil cleaning, and a discount on replacement parts and labor. Whether you have a need for maintenance or for a replacement, call MB Heating and Cooling. Call 217-544-HEAT, 544-4328, or visit mb-heating.com.
Anxiety. There's plenty of it to go around for just about everyone these days, but the question is, how are you dealing with it? Anxiety can make things difficult. If you find yourself reaching for drugs or alcohol as the solution, chances are your anxiety has gotten out of control. It's time to pick up the phone and call Gateway Foundation. You'll talk with someone who holds the strictest confidentiality so that you can open up and learn about treatment options. Our team of professional counselors, therapists, psychiatrists, and physicians have a long history of helping people like you get back on track. During the healing process, you'll find that there is nothing to be ashamed of. Calling Gateway Foundation is that important first step towards getting away from the self-medication of alcohol and other substances and on the road towards safe, rewarding, and sustainable recovery. Call Gateway Foundation at 877-505-HOPE for a free, private, confidential screening. Gateway Foundation, addiction medicine saving lives.
Take a little ride out to Abe's Hideout.
Your wife is making a new honey-do list.
Escape to Abe's Hideout.
The committee you're serving on has called an emergency meeting.
Escape to Abe's Hideout.
It's your turn to take the dog to the vet.
Escape to Abe's Hideout.
Whenever you need an escape, head to the place with Hideout in their name, Abe's Hideout. Build your own burger. Order a flatbread pizza. Win big money with slots from J&J Gaming. Or just have a drink at the bar. Abe's Hideout is your spot to win big with hot slots from J&J Gaming. Abe's Hideout has all the newest games, and it is the perfect place to relax and win big loot. Enjoy a little escape at Abe's Hideout in Springfield and Mechanicsburg.
Escape to Abe's Hideout.
Take a little ride out to Abe's Hideout.
It's worth the drive.
Whoa! We can't clean up that search history. But we can clean your office, your school, your church, or other awesome workplace. Get your free estimate online at cleanimpactllc.com. Impact. Clean Impact. Can't clean up your dirty martini? but we can clean your office, your school, your church, hospital, or other amazing workplace. Get your free estimate online at cleanimpactllc.com.
92.7 WMAY is stuffing your stockings this holiday season with family 4-packs into the Abraham Lincoln Presidential Museum. Discover more about Springfield's favorite president. Experience the sights and sounds of history. Be a tourist in your own backyard. Register to win a family 4-pack of tickets into the Abraham Lincoln Presidential Museum right now at WMAY.com. Happy holidays from the Abraham Lincoln Presidential Museum and 92.7 WMAY.
Just 3 words tell you everything you need to know. They tell you why we employ more than 2,000 workers at our factory in Virginia Beach, and why over 10,000 local steel dealers are putting battery power in the hands of Americans. Just 3 words. Made in America. Real steel. Find yours at steelusa.com. The majority of steel products sold in America are made in America of U.S. and foreign materials. Batteries and chargers are sourced internationally.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit beefy, or even with type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Affordable term life insurance is out there. Call Term Provider and speak with Big Lou at 800-481-1458. 800-481-1458 or visit biglou.com. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too.
Springfield's Morning News with Greg Bishop. Listen on demand at WMAY.com. 92.7 WMAY. Springfield's News and Talk.
So we talked a lot this morning about the proposed gun ban and how a hearing in an Illinois House committee lasted nearly 5 hours. Spent a lot of time on that. But there was another hearing in Kankakee County in a courthouse dealing with the Safety Act. That's no cash bail goes into effect January 1st. Here we are, December 21st, and yesterday the Kankakee County Court heard a consolidated lawsuit that around 60 state's attorneys and sheriffs across the state have filed against the state for trying to block the implementation of the Safety Act, and in particular, the no cash bail provision. So again, Kankakee County State's Attorney Jim Rowe leading that argument against the Safety Act. He claimed that the measure is unconstitutional by violating the state's single subject law, which confines legislation to only one subject. Darren Kincaid, inside that hearing, he argued on behalf of the state. He said that the provisions of the Safety Act are constitutional and asserted that they're not violating the law because all conditions are related to the criminal justice system. So let's hear a little bit, though, of what the state's attorney out of Kankakee County, Jim Rowe, had to say about the law that's going into effect and some of the conceptions that were put out there during the election. Here is the Kankakee County State's Attorney, Jim Rowe, sounding off on that.
This is not about the merits of the law. This is purely about the constitutionality. And the reality is most policies are not unconstitutional, but this one is. Council wants to say that somehow the election results give the defendants, the governor, the speaker, the Senate president, a mandate to do this to us, to do this to the judiciary. Do you know why they won that election? Because they lied about what was in here. They told lies for months and months and months. We told them that that law allowed kidnappers to get out without being held, attempt murderers, gang members with firearms. And you know what they said? He was a fearmonger. Mr. Glasgow was a fearmonger. The Sheriff Downey's a fearmonger. I'm a fearmonger. We were telling the truth. And how does the court know that? Because in these 300 pages they just passed in the trailer bill, they fixed all that. That's how they won their election, by lying their way to the victory. Council wants to talk about what's popular and what's unpopular in the bill. I didn't mention the word log rolling, but I'm happy to address it now. I'll tell you what's popular. Body cameras, we love them. They protect law enforcement and they protect the rights of the accused. Training for police officers, who could be opposed to that? And that's why they log roll those things in to this bill. And let's not forget what it all comes from, because what did this bill do? Well, Senator, well, Representative, if you want to support body cameras and equipped officers with them, if you want those officers to have that additional training, you've got to let kidnappers out. You've got to let those gang members with firearms back out into our community. You've got to let people out, everyone out, after 90 days, which they doubled down on in their last 300 pages.
So now the judge has this in their hands, and they're going to be moving forward with a possible ruling in a week. So we'll do what we can to keep you updated on that during the holiday season. But Jim Glasgow, Will County State's attorney, he said that things went well. He believes that the measure was debated thoroughly and is looking forward to what the judge does. Here's Jim Glasgow.
We'll just have to wait and see. The judge is a fair judge, and he'll give us a good ruling. And I really appreciate the fact that he's getting it done before the first of the year.
And more from Jim Glasgow here.
I felt the hearing went very well today, and I think the judge took everything in, and let's wait for his decision.
And we'll be waiting in a week's time. It's now 8 o'clock.
From the Fly SPI studio.